Hey, before we dive in, if you love stories that hit hard and make you feel every heartbeat, hit that subscribe button. It really helps. I never thought a Saturday night could feel like the quiet before a storm, but that was before it happened. My apartment smelled faintly of coffee and cigarettes, a habit I'd picked up just to keep me awake on the nights she wasn't home. She was supposed to be at her friend's, a short trip she promised me a week ago, but the text I got hinted at something off, cryptic, too late, filled with emojis she never used. I sat in the living room, the dim light of the lamp slicing the darkness in half. The TV was on mute. The glow flickered across my hands as I scrolled through the same messages for the fifth time. "Be careful," she had typed just before disappearing into silence. I chuckled nervously, telling myself it was nothing. My phone buzzed again, a call from an unknown number. I ignored it. That's when he showed up. I knew him, Marcus, my best friend since college, the one I trusted more than anyone. His smile didn't reach his eyes, and the way he moved through my doorway made the air feel heavy, like something unsaid had filled the room before he even spoke. "Hey," he said. Just that, one word, but it sounded like a warning. I laughed it off. "Marcus? Didn't expect to see you." He didn't answer. He only looked past me, and that's when I realized she was behind him. My wife. My heart stopped, not because of shock, but because the realization hit me slower than I wanted. She hadn't been at her friend's. She had been here, with him, and now, in the silence, she didn't even flinch at my presence. The room smelled like betrayal, coffee and cigarettes mixed with a metallic tang of something raw and unspoken. I wanted to say something, to scream, to call out, to demand explanations, but I didn't. I couldn't, because deep down, I already knew this was not an accident. And then the silence stretched, thick and deliberate. I don't know how long I sat there, watching them, until I finally whispered the words I didn't want to speak. "Why?" No answer came. Just that silence that I watched her from the edge of the couch, every small movement magnified in my mind. The way she tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, the slight twitch in her smile, it was all too familiar and yet completely foreign. Marcus leaned against the counter, pretending casualness, but his hands were tight-fisted, his jaw tense. I could feel the electricity of their secret, heavy and suffocating, pressing down on me. My phone buzzed again. Another message, this time from her. "Don't make this harder than it has to be." I stared at it, unable to reply. My fingers hovered over the screen, shaking. I wanted to scream, to destroy every device in the room, but something in her tone froze me. It hit me then, slowly, painfully. This wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't a one-time slip. The texts, the late nights, the whispered phone calls, they were all pieces of story I hadn't been allowed to read. And Marcus, he wasn't just a friend who betrayed me. He was the one she chose. I thought about all the small betrayals I'd ignored. The faint perfume on her scarf, the unexplained laughter over a text, the way she sometimes avoided my eyes for a split second too long. I had convinced myself it was nothing. I had wanted to believe in us. But the truth, staring me in the face, was undeniable. "Why?" I said again, louder this time, my voice breaking. She looked at me, her gaze almost pitying, and said something I'll never forget. "I didn't want to hurt you, but I needed him." Needed. The word reverberated through my chest like a punch I never saw coming. My mind raced. Every memory, every promise, every quiet night we'd spent together. All of it, tainted now, like glass shattered on the floor. I wanted to run, to leave, to escape the apartment that now felt like a trap, but my body wouldn't move. I stayed frozen, watching them, the two people I loved and trusted most, standing together as if I didn't exist. And then Marcus smiled, calm, triumphant, the way someone does when they've won without even trying. My stomach dropped. The final blow wasn't what I'd seen. It was what was coming next, the silence that would follow, heavier than anything before. Because deep down I knew the morning wouldn't bring forgiveness. It wouldn't bring answers, only consequences. And I still had no idea how I'd survive them. Morning came like a slow drip, gray light creeping through the blinds, painting the apartment in pale, cold colors. I woke to the smell of coffee, the same smell that had haunted me last night, but now it was tainted with something sharper: anger, grief, and disbelief. They were both there, sitting across from each other at the kitchen table, pretending everything was normal. I didn't speak at first. I just stood in the doorway, letting the silence stretch between us, heavy and suffocating. She looked up, startled by my presence, and for a brief second, I saw a flicker of guilt. Marcus didn't even notice me. His eyes were locked on hers, the smugness from last night replaced by something softer, something I no longer understood. I started, my voice catching. I don't know what to say, or if there's even anything left to say. She reached for my hand instinctively, but I pulled back. That small motion, meant to soothe, only made the knife twist deeper. I realized then that love couldn't survive on memories alone. It couldn't survive lies, and it certainly couldn't survive the silence that followed betrayal. I never meant, she began, but I cut her off. You never meant. I repeated, the word sharp, deliberate. But it happened, and you chose it. Both of you. Tears blurred my vision, but I refused to let them fall. I had loved her too much to cry for her betrayal. I had loved him too much to let him think this was a victory. I turned and walked to the door. The apartment smelled like coffee, cigarettes, and heartbreak, the only proof that the night before had been real. I left without looking back, leaving them there with their silence, the very silence that had been deliberate, that had broken me. Outside, the air was crisp, the city waking around me, indifferent to my pain. And in that indifference, I found a strange clarity. Betrayal had a face, yes, but so did survival. So did the decision to reclaim myself, piece by fragile piece, from the ruins they had left behind. Sometimes the hardest choices are the ones that save you. And that morning, leaving was mine. If you've ever been betrayed or felt the weight of silence after heartbreak, I want to hear your story. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, because some stories hurt, but they remind us we're alive.